But what would their worth be today? What would their value be today? Hey everybody, welcome back. It's been a minute. I can't release these videos that often because it takes so much time to collect the research and put it together for you all. But enough of that. Let's jump in real quick because we've got a lot of subject matter to cover. I found a really cool interactive tool that will show you in real time our true value of what the black enslaved people of the early 1600s, the earliest days of America, the true value that they brought to America's wealth and economic prosperity. Okay, what was that real modern day value of enslaved Africans from the earliest days? We've been talking a lot about land of the blacks, right? And how New York was formerly called New Amsterdam. New Amsterdam was the capital of New Netherlands. Okay, they're the same place. It's just that New Amsterdam was the town and the town was the capital of the colony, for those of you who've asked. Okay, we've covered that in previous videos, but now we're going to get into the land that was owned by enslaved black people. Back then in that time, it was deeded to them, it was conveyed to them, they owned it, but they were not allowed to keep it over the last 400 years. But what if they had? Now we're talking about generational wealth, right? Now we're talking about the type of money, property, land value that you can pass on to your children and children's children so that it can keep growing and accumulating value over the generations and over the decades. If the enslaved black people who owned that land from land of the blacks, if they had been allowed to pass it on to their children, how much would that land be worth today? I did a deep dive so that I can find out. Come along with me and let's jump into it right now. This video is probably going to take a little bit of time because we've got a lot of ground to cover. I hope that you've been well. My name is Lula White. I am a romance and historical fiction author. If you've been enjoying my content, thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button so that you can get updates whenever I upload new information. If you go to an interactive website called, it's the New Amsterdam History Center. It's called Mapping Early New York. And I discovered this in my research travels that I was making for Land of the Blacks. And this is the coolest interactive site. You should be able to see on the double screen, right? This is what we were talking about in my videos. Check this out. Is that not cool or what? Okay. This tool at that website, you can go and check it out for yourself, but it shows the difference between New York in the year 1663 and New York as it is today. Here, these are all the pieces of property that were owned nearly 400 years ago. They were conveyed from the colony of New Netherlands to black people who were enslaved and working for that colony back then. I'm showing you now in the double screen. You can see this is all of Manhattan here. That's all of downtown New York on the left hand side, and then moving along, okay, over in that area, that's New Amsterdam. We've talked about that in previous videos. Each one of those squares that are outlined in red, that is a different parcel of land that is owned by formerly enslaved Africans. Catalina Anthony, I talked about her in my last video. Domingo Anthony, okay? Paolo Diangola. These are the enslaved Africans who were brought over and made to build the wall that is now Wall Street down in Manhattan as it stands. Merrick, I did a piece on her in the last video. She's also on my Substack. Make sure you check that out. If you have questions about who she is, this is Groot Manuel. He is also one of the first Africans to arrive in New York, one of the first Africans to arrive in America. Klein Antonio, he is the son of Dorothy Angola, okay? She is often cited as being one of the first black women, if not the first black woman in New York. That's Gratia Diangola, Merrick, Big Manuel. These are all people whose names I've listed in my last 2 videos. If you haven't watched those, then go back and check it out. So this is so super cool because we get to see how much land was owned by black people as early as 1644. It was granted to them in throughout the 1640s, 1650s, 1660s. Peter Stuyvesant, he was one of the original governors of New York, the Director General of New Netherlands back when New York was New Netherlands. Okay, so these pieces of land, Paolo Diangola, he is one of the first African men in New York, and he owned 2 pieces of property. Is that not phenomenal or what? He owned 2 pieces of property, not just one. So that speaks volumes about the level of hard work and commitment that they put in until to the point that New Netherlands granted them land to farm on their own so they could raise their own crops, so they could have their own cattle, so that they could have their own chattel to sell for profit, and so they could make their own wealth just like white people were making their own wealth. Okay, so I went to the full 3D model, and this is so cool. So this feature, this interactive website, they show you in real time what New Amsterdam looked like. Okay, this is Manuel de Gerrit de Roos. Okay, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I may be butchering it, but they tried to hang him for murdering another person, and when they tried to hang him, he did not die, and the rope didn't kill him, so he was able to live, and he went on to become one of the first owners of property in America. Okay, that is Manuel de Gerrit de Roos. But I'm gonna hop over here to the part about the wall that we have spent so much time talking about, Wall Street, and I want to show you a model, a recreation, a representation of what that wall would have looked like back then. Here it is. So here's New Amsterdam, and if you can always go and check this out for yourself, but here's the wall, the original wall that was built by the Africans in New York. You see it here. It's called the Wall. And this wall eventually wound up being Wall Street, what is known as Wall Street in downtown Manhattan, the home of economic finance and the capital, the home of capitalism, the leading center of capitalism all around the world. It started here at this wall, which was built by Africans to protect the Dutch colonists from outside attacks from the English and from the Lenape Native Americans. That would be this wall. Okay, but also I want to get into these property values. Again, I don't want this video running too long, so give me one moment to pull that up. All right, so let's start with Paolo Diangola. Okay, he's one of the first African men in New York in the United States. He was brought over specifically to try to help build the New Netherlands. He is one of the original 11 men who petitioned for his freedom and to receive land to take care of his families, back in 1644, and that petition was granted. He was given half freedom. We talked about this in one of the previous videos that I made. Now, I did the best I could to go back and find the area where he would have owned land. Canal Street and Lafayette Streets in New York, that there's the intersection, you see it there. That property, that area, those, if you break up those properties, they're each 1.4, 3.6, 7.4 million dollars here in this area, right? This is the area of modern day New York, okay, that was previously owned by Paolo Diangola. Okay, you see the tax assessment alone is more than $500,000. It was sold as recently as 2020 for $4.95 million. 4.95 million. Okay, so it was listed for sale again February 2020 for over $5 million. That is just one space, one space in one building on a corner of the property that Paolo Diangola owned. Okay, it has 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. It's in New York, in the heart of everything. Okay, we're talking about an area where the homes around it, each one of those condos they go for as much as 5.5 million, anywhere from 3.6 to 5.5 million dollars. So now imagine if Paolo Diangola's, if his descendants still own all the acreage in that area. You're talking they would be worth at least, at minimum, anywhere from 20 to 30 million dollars from owning all the property here sitting on that corner at Canal and Lafayette Streets. Okay, because you're talking about just one apartment alone. Almost $10 million, $9.3 million, 5.971, 4.7. That's just for one apartment in a building. Now you take all those apartments and all those buildings and all those floors, and then we're way over $30 million. We're now looking at anywhere 50, 60 million dollars, and that's just for Paolo Diangola's property, okay, that I pointed out to you earlier. You can do the comparisons for yourself, but that's just in the area sitting on Canal and Lafayette Streets, which is what Paolo Diangola owned when he was alive way back in 1644. Okay, take a look at you can go and check it out for yourself. Don't harass anybody. Don't go and do anything illegal, or that you know, don't hurt anybody or anything like that. I am definitely not advocating that. But if you wanted to look up what this apartment looks like, these shiny hardwood floors, plenty of space, luxury, it's in the heart of a really prominent community. If you wanted to go and spend some time on your own doing your own research here online, don't go harassing anybody in real time if you live in New York, but if you wanted to just look this up and spend some time on these property values, you would see for yourself that Paolo Diangola's, his descendants, his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, they would be worth more than $50 million just from owning one New York City block if they had been allowed to pass on their wealth. That's what he built. That's what he earned. That's what was conveyed to him. That's how much he was respected. That's how much his work was valued at. That's how much his contributions and his sacrifices 400 years ago, that's how much it would be worth today if he had been allowed to pass on generational wealth to his great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren. Just like the Rothschilds, and just like the children of J.P. Morgan Chase and the Morgan family and the Vanderbilts, just like they were able to pass on the wealth and the value of their hard work to their descendants. Here we have Macon, Angola. And if you'll look here, I only took a photo of this. I didn't take the video or the screen recording of this, but here at the land that was previously owned by Macon, Angola, Broadway, Crosby, these streets in this area, you see the property value, same principle. You see what those streets are worth here in this area, where you have Mercer, Broadway, Green Street, and they're all running parallel to one another. Crosby. Look at what the property values are worth in this area. 17 million over here on the left hand side of the screen. 17 million, 17 again, 5.2 million, 8.7 million, 9.4 million. You have these 21 million right there down on the left hand corner of the screen, right above Prince Street. You have properties that are as much as 21 million, 18 million dollars, and this is just for an apartment or a piece or a slice of a street. This is a true indicator of what black labor and black bodies were truly worth in our sacrifices. This is a real-time indicator of what that of the value of our ancestors and what we put in when it came to this capitalist society. When I share this information with you, it's so that we can have an understanding in real time of what the value of black labor truly added up to. And this is just 4 or 5 individuals that I pulled from one snapshot in American history. I haven't even gone into what that looked like when you add up and multiply all the black bodies that were brought here and all the labor that was put to use in building up the wealth of America over 400 years. And then apply that to all the descendants of all the slaves or enslaved people who were brought over here against their will and forced to build American wealth. And we are told that our value of our ancestry, that's only a fantasy, that it's wishful thinking, that it's not real, and that they were only slaves and their contributions and sacrifices are often diminished. But we see now in real time what their real value then and today truly was. But for now, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you found it useful or intriguing, then please do hit like, subscribe, share, and continue to rock with me, because I'm doing what I love to do. And thank you so much for giving me an audience and sharing your time with me. All right, take care. Bye.